Afternoon. How are we all doing? Excuse me. How's everybody? All good? Afternoon, Kennelly, JC, Amy, Ian, Baggy, Julio. It's time, Evans, Yotko. How we doing? Gregors. Right. 9 minutes to go to the open. Afternoon, Alistair. So DAX this morning. Pretty clean breakdown, 1.1% this morning on the DAX. It was very nice, easy, clean one today. So the pre-market range was too small. 5-minute opening range break, short, down to the target. That's where I set target this morning. We hit it, done. So nice and easy break today. Very slow this morning though. So we had a really sluggish open. So took one profit there and the second profit there. That was kind of the ultimate, if you like, target to go for today. We didn't get there. So this is yesterday's low. That's where we hit. We had a very contracted day on Friday. So no movement today so far. US indices really quiet as well. So really tight ranges. All we did was we've batted up into yesterday's high on the NASDAQ. Tiny pre-market Globex sessions everywhere. So no volume in the market at all at the moment. Really quiet. So we'll see what happens at the open. But yeah, so got a little bit of bank this morning. News-wise, we haven't got any news today. We've had construction PMIs. We've got IV PMI at 3 for the Canadian dollar. Its first news this week is tomorrow, which is the Australian rate, which is going up. So we should have a little bit of bullish movement potentially tomorrow morning for the Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar. No other news tomorrow. That New Zealand inflation expectation is very rarely does anything. We've got 2 talking heads on Wednesday. And the only news we've really got for the US dollar is the unemployment claims on Thursday and then University of Michigan Friday. Other than that, it's talking heads and GDP. So this week, we've literally got, tomorrow, we've got the Aussie rate. Thursday, unemployment claims. Friday, UK GDP. That's it. So there's no news this week. Really flat week. This morning, no news. It's dead. Just dead at the minute. So very boring week this week, probably. So far today, banked 0.32% on the position trading. Pound odd, straight in, straight out. Got in on Thursday onto that. Hit target today. So target was propulsion. I think that was it today. Yeah. And basically, my drawdown hasn't moved all morning. Literally. Just not moving. Nothing's moving. But anyway. No, sorry. I want to check. 6th of November, yeah, that's right. So I didn't do the live room on Friday. I just want to check I actually changed the date, which I did. Afternoon, everybody else. Yarp, Virginia, Fletch. Sure wish we had you during FOMC on Friday. I wouldn't really tell you a lot. All I would be going is, ooh, that moved. So yeah, US dollar obviously came down hard on Friday. I mean, it's just bad news all round, wasn't it? But it's not. At the moment, there's still no forward guidance on rates going forward. So, yes, the unemployment rate went up by 0.1, which is obviously negative US. The Canadians' unemployment went up by 0.1, which is negative CAD. So obviously CAD and US both negative, big strong move. but there's no forward guidance issued off of that as to what's going to happen. The unemployment rate is a sort of byproduct. It's not a leading indicator, so it's difficult to tell where we're going to go. PMIs came out negative as well, which is another additional blow to the US, but I'm not convinced the US is going to, tank. We'll probably be a little bit more bearish maybe moving forwards. But what we need to give us some guidance is the indices. So the stock indexes and the stock market haven't rallied particularly today. So, I don't know. I don't think there's an awful lot you could read into Friday, really, at the minute. Afternoon, Brian. Day trader, John. DAX for you, it was. I got hedged using tight range. Got out with a profit. If you took a pre-market range today on the DAX, you would have got hedged. But the whole point of the stock index hedge EA is that it analyzes the pre-market, and if it's too tight, you don't take it. And it was. So it didn't. But you would have got hedged. No movement this morning. Bit of a rubbish one today. Was your risk 0.1 on that GA? Yeah. 0.1 on half an ADR. Yeah. Right. So ADRs today, we've got a couple to look at. And RSIs is a few bits and pieces. So how long we got? 2 minutes. We'll look at these quickly. Swiss yen, ADR to the upside. Sorry. Yeah, up to upside. So a bit of a rally off of the Swissy, basically, or rather weakness from the yen more like. So the yen obviously has had a bit of a bad day so far today. So Swissy yen ADR hit to the upside. Market reversal alert happened at ADR this morning. So that was a straight in, straight out. Well, not straight in, rather. Not out yet, obviously. It hasn't moved. But straight in off of ADR is what I meant to say. But stuck at the minute. So you got an entry there. And the pound New Zealand, that one's basically hit to the upside as well. But again, only just got into that one. There was your alert. You're kind of there. So, but nice potential intraday shorts on those two. But that's really all the movement we've had today. So nothing to write home about there. And the RSIs as well. Oh, blimey, market's selling off really hard pre-market. RSIs will go through in a sec. So big sell orders coming in pre-market. That's going to screw up the pre-market ranges. And also, it looks like we're going to close at the lows, which is going to make it hard for the EA to get into trades because this looks like it might fly at the open. So we'll see what happens. May not get all these on today. Okay. That doesn't seem to have triggered any of my orders anywhere. All too small. Are they really all too small? They are as well, look. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it is as well. Yeah, all pre-market range is too small today. So no trades taken on the pre-markets. Wish I had. Bloody hell. Right, big moves there. So if you did take any pre-markets today, well done. You're out already. You might as well go home. Bloody hell, look at that. That's a big buy. We'll look at the US dollar in a minute. I suspect that's coming down. So there's your 15-minute pre-market. You're already 2R there. Your 15-minute pre, you are 1.5R on the S&P. And the Dow is 1.5R as well. So big, strong moves at the open there. Those ranges, I suspect, are going to be too big to trade. Oh no, that's in range, so might be able to get on these. We'll see where we go. But if you did take the pre-markets today, I'd shut the lot and just go home and do something else. Because those are big moves. Missed that. Never mind. I'm not quite sure that actually triggered and calculated correctly. I just changed all the times and I didn't restart my terminal. And I'm just wondering, just trying to think back to the programming as to whether or not that is done at the initialization or whether it's done at the open. We'll see. This might not trigger today. Thought feeder, 2R on the Dow. Adjusted minimum range to 0.8 ADR, so took it. Look at you. Well done. I'd stop if I were you. I did play around with 0.8 ADR. I did some testing on the pre-market minimum range size from 0.5 to 2, I think it was. I tested. The 0.8s, you get into a lot more trades and you get some really fast profits out of it. But you obviously get whipsawed a little bit more. And there's not a lot in it, to be honest, between 0.8 ADR and 1 ADR, 0.1 ADR. 0.8 is what you mean is 0.08, I think, isn't it? So I'm doing 0.1, which is 10% of ADR as a minimum range. 0.08 I tested as well, and down to 0.05. There's not a lot in it between those two. Some you get triggered, some you won't. But all we're saying is, if it's a tight range, don't take it. Whether it's a 0.08 or a 0.1, not a lot in it is there. It doesn't matter which one you used, it won. So that's why I kind of left it at 1, just for simplicity's sake. Also, your 5R becomes a lot tighter in respect to ADR as well. Hang on a minute. Why is that there? What? Oh my God, I've set the wrong set file. I think I may have fat fingered this today. I'm sure I changed this morning. That's already triggered, look. I've loaded DAX. What have I done here? Oh dear. I think I may have ballsed this up today. I definitely ballsed it up on the DAX, on the NASDAQ, because it's running there for some reason. Okay, so entering S&P, NASDAQ, for some reason I've ballsed it up. What have I done there? 25, that's correct. 25, that's correct. That is now correct. I got that wrong. Well. Tight as well. What's that? The NASDAQ. Okay, so I'm not trading the NASDAQ. That range was actually within parameters. So you should be taking a NASDAQ as well if you've set it up properly. I didn't. So I am taking it over here. So all three are running on my other account over here, but the NASDAQ over here is not working. Might do this manually. What's the lot size? 16. All right, so just going to manually trade the NASDAQ and trade these two normally. No breaks yet. That's bloody tight as well. Sorry, I just need to change these because they're a bit tight. That one's all right. Offset's a bit tight on that. Going to get taken out with spread. It's a little bit too close. So I'm just making that a little bit bigger for tomorrow. Okay. NASDAQ looks like it wants to go out the longs. At the highs. Okay, long on the NASDAQ. Just one entry. This is the problem with trading manually. I pressed the button twice then, took one trade. Oh, hand frozen up. Great. Couldn't make it up. It's Monday. We got Friday the 13th coming up this year, probably this month as well, probably, haven't we? Okay, NASDAQ's gone out the longs. I can't take another trade though because my terminal's frozen, but we are broken out the highs on the NASDAQ. My God. Okay, I'm just going to take a single on this. Come back to life in a minute. Hello? My internet gone down or something? No. Why is this terminal not working? Okay, well, NASDAQ's out the highs, flying. For some reason, this terminal's just decided to freeze up on me. So we'll watch this one for a minute. So we're out the highs on the NAS. Plenty of room to go to target, but S&P and the Dow, as you can see, still inside bars on those. NASDAQ's the only one that's gone. Others just stuck at the minute. Okay, so there's your 5 minute, first 5 minute candle was an inside bar on those two. NASDAQ out the high. Coming back to life? Oh, finally. There we go. Okay. So I'm just going to place hedge on that. The lows. It's just in case. Gosh, froze up again. Can you trade all 4 indices during the London session? You could do, but as you can see, we don't get a lot of movement on the US indices. So your open is here. So that's the open in Frankfurt. Yeah, I mean, if you look at what that did from the open and then look at what the DAX did at the open, yeah, the DAX, we got a lovely big move. On the other indices, we didn't go anywhere. So the US indices during the what they call the Globex session, which is the Chicago Mercantile's automated exchange, doesn't tend to do a lot. So some days you will get a movement. It depends if there's a load of stock sector purchases going on or anything, but most of the time it's not worth trading the US indices in the morning. Trade them in the afternoon. The indices you can trade in the morning are the Frankfurt, are the France 40, the DAX, and the FTSE. Those are the main three. Okay, I'm just going to try and take another one on this NASDAQ if it pushes back up. And likewise, as you can see, you see all this movement we're getting on the US indices, and look at the DAX. Yeah, DAX is hardly moving because all of the volume is going through the US indices in the afternoon. All the volume goes through the European indices in the morning. And obviously, you can trade the Hong Kong, Japanese, Aussie, New Zealand exchange. I don't even know if they could New Zealand. They have got one, but whether there's any volume that goes through it, I don't know. But certainly trade the Aussie 200. Okay, we're pulling back. Looks like we're going to break short on the S&P. Trying to anyway. NASDAQ's out the lows, so new low of the day on the NASDAQ. Sorry, the DAX. Just going to trade, put another buy stop on the top there, because I only got that one position on before my terminal decided to freeze up on me. Short on the S&P. No movement on the Dow yet. Wow. Big order just came in there, just whipped straight back up again. Loads of buy volume just came in on the Dow. We got news coming up at. It's not till 3 o'clock. Oh yeah, sorry, 3 o'clock. Yeah, sorry, clocks have changed, haven't they? In quarter of an hour. So we got the PMIs for the CAD coming up. So we'll probably get some volume coming through the market when that number comes out. So we'll see what happens, but doesn't seem to be an awful lot of movement at the minute. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Just so I don't have to sit here and watch this all the time, I'm just going to cancel that pending order off on the NASDAQ, that second long. I'm just going to run one long, one short on the NASDAQ, and I'll keep the others just running as normal because these are being run by the EA. That's being run manually. Right. Not really going anywhere at the moment. We're inside bar. I'll keep an eye on that over there. We'll have a look at the FX while we're waiting for something to move. So yeah, so there's your RSIs. There's no weeklies, there's no monthlies at the moment. So there's nothing, ADRs, there's nothing to look at on the ADR front apart from those two that we've looked at, the Swiss yen and the pound New Zealand. RSIs, there's quite a few. There was more this morning. We'll have a look at these, but we'll go through the positions that I've got open at the moment after the RSIs and have a look where everything is. But there's not much different really from this morning. So we'll have a look through all of these. Russell dumping hard, is it? Yeah. Funded in a week is that information window that displays the daily, weekly, monthly gain for a symbol part of the SIH. Yeah, it's a separate indicator. It's on the website. It's called the Trade Manager Dashboard. That one there. It's for position trading. You don't need it for stock index hedge. It's designed so that you can manage your portfolio. This is the purpose of it, for position trading, not for stock index hedge. Just because there's no good P&L system basically built in 24. There's a lot of volume coming in at the moment. Still no direction, but there's a lot of volume. There's an awful lot. You hear me say it every now and again, the market's jittery. There's a lot of volume coming in, fast movement, but there's no directional bias yet, as you can see. So just a lot of whippy price action. I suspect when it's calmed down a little bit, we'll get a nice trendy day hopefully today. But at the moment, it can't really make up its mind as to direction. Dow's broken short. New low of the day on the Dow, just trying to go in now. There we go. So we've just broken the pre-market lows on the Dow, just by a pip. S&P looks like it wants to come out the lows as well. So just quickly, before we look at FX, because I just need to look for targets. So that target 2R to the downside is pretty good for the Dow. That's the propulsion gap caused by the unemployment rate on Friday for the US. You got that high as a potential support, which is the Globex high from Friday. And then you've got that low, which is where they added back into the break. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move my TP up to 1.5R on the Dow, just in case they re-add at that level, because that's where the second batch of orders came in on Friday. S&P, yeah, I mean, S&P 2R to the downside is easy. 5R all the way down there. I mean, that's where you're looking at targeting to the downside if we are going to break short. Struggling to get short, though, at the moment. A little bit of a breakdown there. Might get down. And the NASDAQ, just about to get hedged on the NAS. So when that order triggers, haven't triggered yet. NASDAQ doesn't look like it wants to trigger me short, but on the NASDAQ, you've got the pre-market lows, which is basically where we closed on Friday, which is about 3.5R. Failing that, there's so many spots on the way down here that you could look at for support resistance. And obviously all the way back down to the news, which is ADR today. So if it does break down, the NASDAQ's a little bit more tricky for TPs to the downside. That propulsion gap, I would say, is probably one of the better places to put targets this afternoon downside. But yeah, we'll cross that bridge if it breaks. It's not going anywhere at the moment. I'll come back to that in a minute. Right. So RSIs. So Aussie dollar yen. I'll go through all the yens. How many are we? We now. There's only two actually. No, I won't bother. There was more yen pairs extended this morning. The US dollar yen obviously broke down on Friday. Everything broke down US dollar wise on Friday. We're stuck with these yens at the minute. Unable to make any progress at all. So the intervention moves, every time they put an intervention move in, it's getting nowhere. They're just not able to get any strength on this US dollar, on this yen, i.e. driving everything back down again. The US dollar is also not able to make any progress. So we're at a stalemate with this one at the moment. That 152 level is still intact. That is the previous intervention from October last year. So until we get there, I don't suspect we're going to see any more intervention moves or any more strength coming through in the yen. And the US dollar is weak off of Friday's numbers. So there's a good chance that we might break down below last week's low this week and come down and retest that intervention low, which is where we got to last month. You can see that is last month's range. Tiny. So we're stuck on all of these yens. So I haven't got the EA running on any yen pairs at the moment. I'm just leaving the yen alone for a minute, because if it's going to continue to just be stuck, it's just going to cost a lot of money in swaps. So if you get into any positions where you just can't get out and you get stuck in 2 or 3 and you have to hold them for a few weeks, you're going to end up just hemorrhaging cash in swaps. So I'm leaving all the yens alone. If you do want to trade the yens, though, I would still go short everything against the yen. It's more likely that the yen is going to power up at some point based on the US dollar managing to get some legs. If it doesn't and the US dollar drops, the yen will automatically power up anyway. So everything should still come down against the yen. So I like it all as short. So this Aussie yen is nicely extended on the hourly, or was on Friday, and the 4 hour, obviously, RSI extension's above the 80 level. So nice big extension. Looking for a profit take move, potentially all the way back down to that high. So there's a nice big 50% retracement move there in play. So good little short. We're totally stuck on these indices. Looks heavy, looks as if it wants to come down, but it's just not able to get any traction today. Okay, hedged on the NASDAQ now. So, oops, got the NASDAQ hedge on. So NASDAQ downside, target, I'm going to go for propulsion. Down there. And then see if I can get out on a pullback. But it's hedged in at the moment at whatever it's hedged in at. Can't see because the EA is not running it. So obviously, hedged in at whatever it's hedged in at. But yeah, everything else is clean break to the downside so far. But struggling a little bit. What is that hedged at? NASDAQ. So $600. So I'm hedged in at $600 on that, roughly half. Oh, it's there. Sorry. Use your tools. Yeah, so I'm hedged in at $600. I was looking up there thinking, I can't see it because it's not run by the EA. This is what the Trade Manager dashboard's for. So yeah, $600 hedge on that. Banked 1.1 this morning. So I'm just going to monitor this. If we get a nice clean break, and I've got the chance to bank 2 or 3K off of these, I'll probably do that and just shut that out, because that's the only hedge at the moment. The other two are nice and clean, but there's no volume. Can't get out. Can't break the lows. We got orders sitting here wanting to buy today, so it might be a bit of a tricky one. We'll see where that goes. So yeah, Aussie Ollie, and that's coming down nicely. You've had a 15-minute reversal alert this morning, but since we had that alert, we haven't gone anywhere. We are totally sideways on this one. So that's nicely extended to the upside. Aussie US nicely extended to the upside as well on the 4 hour. This is a really big move. So I've got positions on this one already. I've got 2 on this. We got into it with the H1M5 mean reversion on Thursday. Friday obviously pushed up because the US dollar weakened off of the unemployment figures. So second entry taken there as we push back down. So far, we've gone nowhere today. We've had a reversal alert on the hourly. So there's my average. I'm looking to get out in that propulsion gap. So this area here is the obvious support resistance area. So this propulsion gap is my target to the downside for those 2 positions, extended on the 4 hour. So nice potential move coming off of these highs at the moment. So we'll see if this is going to hold as a bigger range now. But that US dollar, really bad figures, really weak. So if that continues to drop, we should, get a nice pullback on this one. $15 minutes, totally sideways at the moment. Massive wicks. Look at the S&P. Got just really wicky. These huge big wicks. going in. A lot of volume, but no direction at the moment. Feels like it's going to pop. I just don't know which way. Struggling. All struggling. See where we go. Right, so Aussie US, nice extended to the upside. So looking for a pullback on that leg, basically. And it'll either go that way or that is your, obviously we're in a downtrend, so that's your push up above, hitting those highs at the range high, and then we'll come back down and test those range lows again. Either way, I'll be getting out halfway between the two. Euro yen extended to the upside. Obviously, we know everything against the yen is really weak at the moment. We're up at last month's high, basically, at the minute. So potential, we could get a nice resistance bounce there. It's extended on the 4 hour, just above the 75 level. So that's not a bad extension. It's just come out, actually, isn't it? So yeah, good short opportunity there. If we're going to continue market structure on this one, we're looking for some kind of pullback before we put a new leg in upwards. Euro US dollar, that's extended on the 4 hour. Big strong move off the back of the US. So looking for a pullback. If we are going to continue this, not really a good decent market structure, is it? We got stuck there for a while. We have just broken out of that high, but if you look at it longer term, this is a big downtrend move, and this could well just be a little pullback before a new leg down. So difficult to tell with this one, but obviously the structure broke there to the upside, and then we basically put in a new lower high and a double bottom, and then another lower high, and then the news broke upwards. So market structure is a mess. It's just a mess at the minute, that one. But it is extended on the 4 hour. It is also extended on the hourly. So first entry taken on Friday on the H1M5 mean reversion for me, and I'm targeting that propulsion gap. So that's 50% retracement on that move. So pretty good entry short. It's rejecting nicely. There's loads of spots on this you could find rejection at. So there's, if you pull all those areas, look. So that area there is just above where we are at the moment. And you've got this high here, which is kind of all part of this same support resistance area, which is just above where we are. You've got this high here, which we rejected, which is where we are at the moment. So this whole area from there all the way down to there is kind of potential resistance if we are going to drop. But with those figures on Friday, I'm not sure there's going to be enough strength in that US dollar. So this could grind up. And if it does grind up, it's very difficult to pick a spot this is going to turn, because it's been just collapsing for such a long period of time. So, but nicely extended on the 4 hour. So if they are just going to do normal market structure, they will profit take that for a new leg, in which case I'll get out on the retracement. Jittery mess, the US market today. Pound Swiss is extended on the 4 hour. So nice rejection gone in today of last week's high. This is nice area of balance, push down. Potentially this is a price discovery move that's going to fail and then push. Alternatively, this could be just a pullback on this down leg. So we pushed, accumulate, push, bounce and drop. Or it could just go back into that range and then try and price discovery to the upside. But either way, nicely extended, good divergence, nicely bearish. We had a little flag break on that leg, so we haven't had a profit take move on it yet, so it's due to come down. I'm not in this one at the moment. Couldn't get in. So Friday we got the RSI extend. Oh yes, no, I am in. Sorry, tell a lie. I am in. There was one other I didn't get in. So that's an H1M5 mean reversion. Target is basically on that line. So I'm just looking for it to come down and retest that high. If it's going to bounce, that's fine. If it's not going to bounce, that's fine. I'll be out. So nice extended on the 4 hour, was extended on the hourly. It is still extended. No, it's just come out today, hasn't it? It was extended this morning. So yeah, nice rejection on that one. Good looking short. Pound yen also extended to the upside. We're pushing up on the indices now. Some of them sort of 50%. But this is a mess today. The Dow is still heavy, but the S&P and the NAS are picking up a little bit, but we'll have a look in a sec. Pound yen extended 4 hour. So we have had a bit of a profit take move on that initial leg up. Did a 50% retracement. Haven't had anything on this yet. Nice rejection up there. So looking for a pullback. The question is, are we going to get any power on the yen or not? We don't know. So good looking reversion opportunity. But as I said, I'm not taking anything on these at the moment. I would have been in this on Friday for a short. So second entry maybe today. What is it? 76 is half an ADR. So we would have got in there. Don't think I would have taken a second on that. The EA wouldn't have got in. It's too close for me anyway. Yeah, good looking mean reversion opportunity. Nice extension on the hourly. 4 hour nicely extended as well. So you're looking for just a pullback potentially. Could obviously do a much bigger move, but just look for a pullback to get out. Dow, new low of the day. Just come the sellers. If we had tick strike on, that would be very loud at the moment. Selling. So yeah, we just put a new low in there. I don't trust this market today at all. Really, I hate wicks like this. When you see so many wicks, it's tiny, tiny, tiny candles, wicks bigger than the candles themselves. Yeah, just means there's a lot of volume, and all we're seeing in here at the moment is algorithmic movement. This is exactly what we had on the DAX this morning. A lot of algorithmic movement, a lot of push, a lot of pull, but no speculative buyers. No one's putting any orders in with any directional bias at the moment today, which is what these wicks are telling us basically. Is there's a lot of volume coming in, but there is an equal amount of buyers and sellers most of the time. So here, nobody won, buy or sell. Here, the sellers took control, buyers push back. Here, the buyers took control, sellers push back. Yeah, so that cancels that out. That cancels itself out. So we've had one order come in today. No volume. So there's volume, but there's no direction. So when the market's like this, it can just literally fly in one direction. You'll suddenly get a massive order. Someone will come in the market and it will just go. But hopefully, sure. But I don't trust the price action. Every time we try and get out of a low, look. Yeah. So that low and that low. Look at where we're getting pushed back from. Same place as last time. We pushed up. Where did we get pushed back from? Same place as last time. So that's all we're doing. It looks like it wants to go short, but at the moment, there's nothing telling me that it's going anywhere. When it's like this, you got to look at your P&L and go, I could walk away now with $800. Or potentially try and deal with a hideous hedge for the rest of the day. Not a clean break. There you go. So again, no progress S&P. Bullish. That is an expanding wedge. Just no direction on it. Give it one more 5-minute candle and see if we can break some of these lows, and then I might jump ship. 20 minutes, 25 minutes sideways, basically, isn't it, today? So there's your pound yen. Pound US dollar is nicely extended as well. Lovely rejection wicks on this. So today, 8 hours, tried to push long. Sellers have said no. We want a profit take on this move. So that's your 4-hour RSI extension. Very nicely extended. 80s and 20s, it's not normal to continue. We normally get a nice pullback off of those. So 4-hour RSI is extended. Hourly, I'm in from the move on Friday. So there was my first entry Friday. Second entry was taken this morning on the 15-minute reversal alert. We've just had an hourly reversal alert going as well. So my TP at the moment is the lower that propulsion gap. But as I've just taken a second position this morning, could easily target the higher that propulsion gap and get out the whole thing there, because that is still a nice, decent profit on those two positions. So just moving the target up to top of propulsion because I've got two positions on. But that area there quite possibly is going to get retested. But this US dollar, obviously very, very weak. So if we are going to continue to weaken that US, Friday was obviously the first time we saw the weakness coming in. If that's going to continue, we're going to go obviously towards the upside on everything against the US dollar. So if we can get a pullback, I want to get out of it just in case that US dollar really, really weakens. We've got no news this week to drive us. So we've just had the CAD IV PMI come out negative. So there's more negative for the CAD, more negative for the US as well. So we've got no real news catalysts for the US dollar coming out until Friday. We've got the University of Michigan and we've got the unemployment claims on Thursday. So, you know, first 3 days this week, this US dollar could just continue to drop. These are painful, these indices. Pound US dollar, so that's nicely extended on the 4 hour still. So there's your 80 extension. New Zealand dollar yen and New Zealand dollar US, both extended. These are coming out of RSI extension now, though. We looked at these on Friday and obviously this morning. So that is starting to drop. Big, strong move, looking for a half move, half retracement on that one. And the New Zealand dollar, US dollar, this is obviously the same as all the other US dollars. First entry on that one went in on Friday. You've had another reversal alert already this morning, which has brought that one back down into profit. Couldn't get in. That was too close for me to take a second. But that's nicely extended. Well, say nicely extended. It's not anymore. Was nicely extended on the 4 hour. So just looking for a pullback to get out of that one. And the US dollar CAD, big drop to the downside. That's just starting to tick up now. 4 hour RSI extension below the 80. All these ones, you know, whenever you get above the 80, bang, bang. You know, it's just below the 80. Very rare you don't get a profit take when you get below that 20 and above that 80 level. Market is exhausted and needs to undo percentages of its move so it can move further. So looking for that propulsion gap target to the upside to get out. And then if it does want to continue south, fine. If it wants to go north, fine, I'm out. Okay, sell orders have just come in. So we just tried to buy up again. We just saw a nice big sell order come in, which isn't going anywhere, is it? I really don't like this today at all. We got 30 seconds left on this candle. We're not going anywhere. So what I might do is just exit this and just protect the capital that I made this morning. We're not going anywhere. We're stuck. Just getting ready to close out the S&P first. We might break the lows, look. Okay, so we're back down at the lows. Bought up again, look. Okay, we're out the lows on the S&P. Okay. So again, that level there, so that's a double bottom we've just broken. which is that low, which we've struggled at now. So that's been bought up. Pretty much every candle has bought that low. That's now gone. So you're looking at that area now, and then pre-market lows, which we've got to break through. Pre-market lows here, which is basically the lowest point, which is basically open today, really, is where we're going to find the first support. I still don't like this. Something feels uncomfortable today about this. I don't know what it is. Something's just telling me I shouldn't be in it. Don't know why. Usually you should listen to yourself. Trade Manager Dashboard says clearly it's not applicable for indices, non-pair instruments yet. But you mean that it will still work? So basically the only bit on this that doesn't work is this bit, the exposure. Yeah. So this will work fine. That'll work fine. That'll work fine. This won't work fine. So the exposure section of the dashboard is designed to show you whether you're long or short on an instrument. And obviously you can only be long or short on a pair cross, basically. Here. So this is designed for FX. So if you go Aussie CAD, for example, I'm short. So I'm short on the Australian dollar and long on the Canadian dollar. So you get one arrow down, one arrow up. Aussie CAD, I am exposed in that direction. So this part of it won't work with indices because obviously there is no cross with the index. Your index is basically US 30, 500 tech. Yeah, that's there is no cross, is there? It's just the US 30. So you can use it and it will tell you your trades, your direction, your lots, your drawdown. You can use it for your P&L, but you just can't use it for exposure. So that's kind of what I mean. It's not designed for indices. Okay, S&P breaking down nicely. I still don't trust this. I don't like it today. Don't like it. Something doesn't feel right. I think it's the fact that we've been selling for 20, 25 minutes without getting any progress. I just get the feeling these guys are just going to give up in a minute and go, screw this. It's exactly the way that I'm feeling at the moment. Screw this. This isn't working. And then they're going to flip. When they flip, it will go back twice as fast. That's what I'm worried about, which means right now I can... In fact, I'm going to do it, I think. I'm taking the S&P off. Basically, by banking that, I've got this hedged. There's nothing I can do about that. I've got $600 locked in. That pays for that. So basically what I'm doing is I'm trading the Dow. Because the NASDAQ, the DAX has paid me nicely this morning. This has just paid that. So this short, if this short works out, great day. What I'm worried about is that. And if that happens fast and I can't get out of this short, that's going to wipe out pretty much 70% of that, which means I still get a green day. But if that was to happen, that would happen there as well and there. That one, it doesn't matter. That one, it does. So I've just banked that basically just to make sure I have a green day. It just doesn't feel right. I hate it when there's tons and tons of volume. You can see there's a load of orders coming in. But we ain't getting anywhere. So that's telling me that there's somebody sitting there either absorbing all of that volume, that seller volume. Someone's sitting there absorbing that and going, bring it on. When you run out, we're going long. You're not going to have any chance to do anything about it. We're just going to hit this and you're going to go. Or they are going to break that person down and they're just going to go, no, can't hold it, and it's going to flush. If it flushes, brilliant, I win. Because the Dow will flush out the lows. That will flush out the lows and I'll go, oh, I wish I hadn't have shut it. That will flush out the lows and I won't care. if it does the opposite, I'm going to be in trouble, aren't I? So that's just doesn't feel right today. But I might be totally wrong, and it might just completely collapse, which is fine. But the other thing the other thing that's worrying me about the indices today is the US dollar. We've had a massive run of bad numbers on the US on Friday. If the US dollar is going to continue that downward movement today, that means the US indices will usually rally because they do the opposite to what the US dollar does. So if the US dollar is going to drop during the New York session, the indices should rise. So it's all pointing, everything at the moment is just pointing the opposite direction to what we're trying to achieve. So it just doesn't feel right. But feelings is kind of half of the battle. So we will see what happens. I just bought the SIHEA and propulsion gap indicator yesterday. Just wondering which more indicators I should buy to get the same monitoring. You don't need anything with the stock index Hedge EA. That is just trading off momentum. Propulsion gap targets. Yeah, I mean, the propulsion support resistance propulsion is just drawing in your weekly levels for you and propulsion targets, basically. So that's it. For the stock index hedge strategy, you don't really need the propulsion indicator, but it's handy to see where the move started from. So we know that that was a big accumulation buy and they rebought it. So we know that's a strong level because they bought it twice. We know that's a strong level because we had a news event where the buyers entered. We had an accumulation, which they bought. We haven't tested yet. So that you're going to find some buyers there because they're going to, when they retest that level, they're going to add to that level. Whether or not it works or not, find out when you get there. But so you don't really need the support resistance propulsion indicator for this. But I have it because I like to see the levels. There we go. Look. Just getting ready to close this DOW. I'm out. So break even on the DOW. Locked in on the hedge on the NAS. Going to lose $600 on that, so that'll bring that down to $1,400 a day. Don't like it. Just don't like this price action. It's too erratic, too big, too whippy, too. You know, just doesn't feel short. Don't know how else to explain it. Doesn't feel short today. Feels long. I get a feeling you're going to hear a load of upticks coming in a minute, and we're just going to fly. Almost want to shut this short out here and see if we can get that back up there and get that out at a break even as well. But I'm not going to because that's too risky. May it be the big fight for either going long or short for the next couple of weeks. We are right at a high and just below the low of the major trend. I don't know what I was looking at the time there. If you're talking about the US dollar, could be. We're just coming out of earnings fortnight. So the market basically now knows what's happening with stocks. So it might be a case of now we're just going to get indices in general. Oh yeah, well I don't know indices in general, but they will do the opposite to the US basically. So US, if we are going to see some down ticks now because we got some negative news starting to flush to come in. I'm just thinking flush. This sounds like a flush. Sounds like it's going to go short. It's probably not the right thing to do today, but this is what I mean. When you're looking at something like this, and my brain is constantly going long, short, long, short, long, short. If you've got no idea, jump ship, get out. Because if you don't know, it doesn't know. I mean, the market obviously doesn't know where it's going, but if you've got conflicting messages coming through all the time, you need to just walk away and not do anything with it, because you're going to end up just hitting the buy button and then getting out your buys and then getting into sells and then getting out your sells and getting into buys. And you're just getting to get sliced to pieces. If you look at where we've gone in the last half an hour now, nowhere, have we? I mean, really, we've gone nowhere in half an hour. Now the buyers are starting to come in. Just a mess. But yeah, I mean, indices in general, obviously, if the US dollar is going to drop and we are going to get some downside start to come in on that, the US indices will start to rally. They're all due a pullback at the moment, though, because we've had this big, strong movement on the earnings fortnight. So the second week of earnings fortnight, we had lots of lovely strength coming through. So they're due a pullback, which would indicate a little bit of US strength. What we actually got on Friday was US weakness. So that potentially will give them the chance to rally. But we are still very much in a downtrend. We're still in a bear market at the moment. You look at them, we're in a bear market still. We haven't recovered at all yet. So this is potentially where we're going to start a new leg down. But look at the speed of this movement. Yeah, this leg up that we've just had and how fast it was. So this is 1 week. Yeah. That was 1 week. That was 1 week. That was 1 week. That was 1 week. Look at the size of these lines I'm drawing now and look at the size of that. That's a hell of a lot of volume coming, but it's earnings fortnight. So you can't read anything into this because this is people buying stocks on good earnings. It's not necessarily the market going, oh, look, we're going back into a bull market. It's just knee-jerk reaction to stock earnings, readjustment. We're up at a high. This could well be where we just completely flush and collapse and start a new leg down from. And that will take 2-3 weeks to happen. These down legs to make new lows take 2 to 3 weeks, if not more. I don't know. I don't think we're in a bull market. I don't think we're in a bear market. I think we're more in a bear market than a bull market, but I don't think we are. You can say really with any certainty whether we're going to go long or short. At the moment, we've still got no direction from a fundamental perspective on the US dollar as to whether or not we should be buying or selling the US dollar. We haven't had for weeks, for months now, really, because interest rates are at their peak, what we think their peak is going to be. But at any time, if that inflation figure goes up, their interest rates are going to need to go up. But with unemployment going through the roof, it's just a downward spiral, in which case then you would expect this to rally, but it's not. We're stuck, aren't we? We're just sideways. So I'm just looking at what's going on. It's just another mess. Look, we had a go at going long there. Look, we didn't. So what happens next? It's awful. How's the prop challenge going? I blew it, Ian. Second stage. This is the problem with prop. I blew it on Friday. Yeah, on Friday I did 3.24%. No, I didn't. Sorry. Yes, I did. Yeah, 3.24. It's just done that today as well. Look, how weird is that? Did 3.24%. So that's what happened with it. However, the way that price action played out on Friday meant that a hedge, basically, as soon as it closed out a portion of that hedge, price moved a candle too far, which took me over the daily loss limit. So they blew the account, and then it all came back and would have made a lovely win. That's prop. Same strategy as that played out on Friday, except prop. The rules are too tight. Well, it's not actually true. The rules aren't too tight. What is too tight is my lot sizing. If I'd have gone in with 50% of the risk, I'd be absolutely fine. But I didn't. I went in with big risk because that's how I do prop. Because it's not real. It's a demo. It's just fun money, isn't it? Until you get funded, and then it's real money. And that's when I tend to reduce risk and try and go for a payday. But trying to get through this evaluation stage is just like, get it in there. Was it during the news? Yeah. But I was ill. So as well, I wasn't paying attention, basically. I just let the EA do it. And this is the problem, right? So when the way that I ran that one was I had $2,500 of drawdown available. And it got to I don't actually know what it got to. I can't really say, actually. It probably got to somewhere in the region, I would say, of 1,800 to 2,100-ish in drawdown when I closed out a profitable trade. But because your drawdown works from end of day, yeah, so although I had banked a load of money and my equity was up there, I can only lose a certain amount of money on the day. The drawdown went down to somewhere like that. And one or two candles pushing against you when you haven't got the hedge on the opposite direction will accelerate that drawdown exponentially, which is what happened. It hit that, bounced back out of it, came up, and it would have been a lovely profit. But it wasn't, because I had a limit on the account of 2.5K. This is where they get you. There's always, I mean, they say, this is where they get you if you use high stakes. If you go in with 0.25% risk, you won't have any problems. I don't. I go in with 1% risk because I want to just get it done. Because it's short-term revenue, short-term income for me. It's not what I care about drawdown, but on my own account, I don't care about it anyway near as much as I need to on prop. It's just adjusting your head, isn't it, really, for working that way? But this is totally stuck still, as you can see. So buyers are coming back in now, as you can hear. So we've got that high to beat now, if they want to take this long today. Painful, isn't it? Still no direction. I still can't say this is long or this is short, this market today. Who was the prop firm? It was Alpha Capital. I only gave them a go because they gave me an offer, basically. So I took it. I'm still not that interested in prop. I'd rather just trade my own money because of exactly that thing on Friday. I didn't close that out on Friday manually because I didn't need to, because I knew what I was doing. But when you're working with numbers, it's just numbers, isn't it, to them? So I knew I was fine because I'd banked in the morning. I had a hedge on something, and taking profit on something, I could have re-hedged it and I wouldn't have a problem taking another couple of $100 loss, but maths didn't add up. So, okay. So we've got a lower high and lower low just gone in on that last candle. So NASDAQ and the S&P is bearish. Dow is an inside bar. So Dow, we're pausing on the Dow at the moment. So you can take a break of that inside bar or a break of the previous bar, which is the safer version. And that could well be just a pullback short. Structure is still low, still short, look. But I mean, realistically, we're 25 minutes in, not doing anything, are we? So flip a coin. Yeah, so I mean, basically with prop, you've got there's two options with prop. And there's nothing wrong with either way of playing it, I don't think. If you've got money and capital like I have, you can be fast and loose. It's a bit like playing poker, isn't it? I'm fast and loose with prop because I don't need it as a revenue stream. I don't need it as an income. It's bunts, if you like, top money on top. If you're wanting to play it to get an evaluation over the line, then you would want to use much, much, much smaller risk. And this is where everybody gets stuffed because everybody's taught to use 1%, 2% risk per trade. Yeah, that doesn't work in prop. In prop, you need to be using 1/4%, 0.5%, because the restrictions are too tight. You get 5 or 6 trades go against you in a row, you're stuffed. And that's what they're relying on. So, however, you're going to take a lot longer to pass it. And the problem with prop, and this is the double-edged sword with prop. Prop exists because you haven't got enough money to trade with. So what do? They dangle the carrot of money. What does that make you? Eager. As soon as you get eager, you want to get it fast because you can have that very, very quick. So what you do is you over leverage to try and get the carrot. Once you get the carrot, you're already over leveraged, so you blow the account. There starts the cycle. If you're clever about it, what you would do is go in with a 1/4% risk, accept the fact it's going to take you 2 to 3 months to pass that evaluation. Phase 1, and then it's going to take you 2 to 3 months to pass valuation phase 2. Then you're going to get funded with an account with acceptable risk. That's what you should be doing with it. But unfortunately, it doesn't pay the bills, does it? So then you go back to the cycle of I need the money now. This is where prop, this is the whole ethos of prop. It works on your psychology. Whereas if you buy 10 evaluations a month, get 2 or 3 of them over the line and draw 10 grand out, having spent 5, you just made 5 grand. That's the way I look at it. So, and that's the way I play the prop game. Except at the moment, I'm not really doing enough evaluations to actually make it work. So I'm just going to dump it again for the moment until I know what's going on with these firms. Because at the minute, as far as I can see, they're all still doing the same thing, and the same dangers are still there with prop. It's a risky proposition, if you like, at the minute. My Forex funds, he is fighting back. And I get his point, but I also get their point. Yeah, if you're pulling the chain on the brokerage and you control this candlestick going up and down, it's very easy to blow someone's account, isn't it? That's where I think the problem is with prop. They can all manipulate price. They can manipulate price. It's the same as binary options, and it's the same as trading with synthetic indices on places like deriv.com. Yeah, they control the price. So therefore, they control whether or not you pass or fail. Therefore, who's got the advantage, the casino or the player? Morning, Franco. You're back again. I thought you weren't trading today because you had a bad morning. Now you're going to tell me that you've made all your money back you lost this morning. Not going anywhere. We're stuck. Totally stuck. So all I can see at the moment is bearish market structure with no bearish movement. So if I was going to say anything today, I'd be shorting it right now. But that view can change in one candlestick. So at the minute, it looks like it wants to drop, which means the US dollar obviously needs to pop. Thanks for the follow, whoever that was. Moses, welcome aboard. So yeah, that means that the US needs to pop today for that to happen. We're getting a little bit of upside on the US dollar CAD. Not the US dollar Swiss, not the US dollar yen. And US dollar's dropping a little bit. Euro US dollar's dropping a little bit. There is a bit of strength coming in, but Deriv is notorious with controlling price. Yeah. I get asked all the time if my stuff works on deriv.com. It's like nothing works on deriv.com. It's like me just inventing an index called Lee's Index and saying this measures Lee's mood today. Yeah, and if you press the buy button because you think my mood is going to improve, I'm just going to make my mood worse until you say, oh, his mood's going to get worse. Then I'm going to get happy. And it doesn't matter what you do, I'm going to do the opposite, because every time you press that button, I can make it go the other way and take your money away from you. And that's basically what synthetic indices are. This is why everybody at deriv.com is banging their head against a wall, because they're trading something that is controlled by the party that you put your money into the bank account of. How do you ever expect to make money out of something like that? It's crazy. Made it all back using an unmentionable good. I don't know what that is, but well done for making it all back. Now reduce the risk, take a step back, and do it normally. Not working today. It's stuck. Oil's the only other thing I haven't looked at today. So oil, I've still got the longs on. I've got 3 on this at the moment from last week. Not from last week, from the week before, actually. Is this 3 weeks now I've been in this? 1, 2. Christ, it is. Oh, no, it's not. Yeah, 2 weeks. Sorry, that was the first entry there. Yeah, obviously I've banked quite a bit on this, on all these longs. Took some off on Friday. We're still holding these lows at the moment. I'm still looking for $100 a barrel plus. So I'm happy to hold these at the minute. I'm not adding any more positions on until we break this high, though. If we don't break this high this week, and we do break this low this week, that is invalid and market structure is officially shifted back down to the downside. So I'm looking for market structure to continue long. And at the moment, it is. So, but if we really break this low here and we start to break down and start retesting these levels, we're quite likely just going to go in a sideways move. So, oh, you made it all back using the unmentionable gold. Not good. That's good. Gold moves up and down as much as everything else. Nothing wrong with trading gold. I just don't trade it because I get killed. But yeah, so oil I'm still holding at the moment. I was going to add one this morning. I decided not to. Quite glad I didn't because we haven't really gone anywhere. But yeah, want to see this high get broken, this propulsion gap taken out, which means we're going to retarget that area there. Is there. That brings that position into profit. And as you can see, my average is only there. So if we can get up to this sort of area, I'll make a judgment call based on what price action does. But knowing oil, it will just suddenly go like that. We'll have 150 ADR day out of nowhere, and it'll be good. But pushing up on the indices, we're trying to. Nothing much else I can bank today. Everything's just flip-flopping. So we have just put in a new high on the NASDAQ. S&P we are attempting. Dow we're still three inside bars on that movelet on Dow. Nothing but buyers coming in at the moment though, so good chance we are going to rally. Good amount of volume just come in there. So we'll see where we go. Okay, Dow's made a new high as well, so we've broken out on the Dow. There we go. Maybe now we're going to flip long. Don't know. I'm out and I'm hedged, so I'm going to call it on that. If we are going long, though, just to look at upside targets, if you've got hedges on. So on the Dow, yeah, I mean, if you look at the Dow, Friday's high is resistance. So if we look at what we're doing today, what's that not updating? So yeah, if you look at the Dow, Friday's high, last week's high. I'm sorry, that's the black line. There's weekly, obviously, because that's last week's high. I was trying to look. I was looking for the blue dotted line. I was like, where is it? So yeah, we've basically tapped into it today, haven't we? So upside today on the Dow, you're going to find a bit more resistance at that level. If it does break that high, you can go as far as you like, really, today. There's not a lot of upside resistance or any upside resistance at all once we break this monthly high. So once we're out of here, next stop potentially is going to be that level there or that level there. So you're looking at really ADR or 125 ADR. That propulsion gap basically is your target to the upside. S&P, again, we're tapping into last week's high at the moment. So that hit we've had rejected. They're having another run up at that basically. If you break that, you have got resistance coming up there. So you've got the previous month's high, which is not too far away. About 27. So roughly half an ADR of movement to the upside before you hit last month's high. Is that last month's high? Yeah. So there's your upside target there. Failing that, you'd be looking at that level there, which is ADR. And NASDAQ, very similar to the S&P. Upside target, if we break, is going to be ADR, which is last month's high. So if we do break this hourly candle and we try to go long, you've got a fair, decent amount of room to the upside. But bear in mind, we are butting into Friday's high. So that is a weekly level. Market is notorious for selling weekly levels. Tricky. Is the concept of lot sizing strictly associated with the pip level stroke movement? What is a good way to hedge a downward and upward move on two different time scales? Yeah, I mean, if you want to hedge a trade, you just go the opposite direction with the same amount of lot size. So yeah, I mean, you see, I'm 32 lots, which is 16 long, 16 short. I don't know, can't quite understand the question. So if you go long with any amount of lots, as soon as you hit the opposite button with the same lot size, your P&L freezes, stops. So it doesn't matter whether this thing goes 1,000 pips up or 25,000 pips down. I'm still going to be $627 locked in. That's it. That's the question. I don't quite understand the question. I'm assuming that's what the question is. Timescale's got nothing to do with anything, is it? Timescale is just a different way of looking at a price action. So that's how far it's moved in the last 15 minutes. That's how far it's moved in the last hour. That's how far it's moved in the last 4 hours. That's how far it's moved in the last day. It's got nothing to do with anything else apart from your view of price over time. Sellers coming back in. So potentially what you're witnessing is market structure shifting to the upside and a pullback long. Or the pullback short is complete and market structure to the downside is going to hold. One of those two things is happening today. I don't know which because this thing's just utterly useless. So I will leave it there because there's nothing I can add to this. Basically, it's just a mess today. So FX wise, very little movement today. flip-flopping about. Everything that we've had pushed in today is undone. There's a lovely M5 mean reversion off of ADR look. So yeah, there's not a lot. Wow, that's a big sell order. You can hear it. There's not a lot happened on FX today. We've had a little bit of movement, but as you can see, it's all kind of undoing itself and flip-flopping around today. So I don't think anything really here is going to move enough for me to get out of anything today. Tomorrow, Aussie dollar rate is tomorrow morning. So anything you've got Australian dollar related or New Zealand dollar related, you need to basically concern yourself with that. So as you can see, I've got quite a lot of Aussie dollar exposure at the moment. I've got Aussie dollar Swiss and Aussie New Zealand shorts where I can bank just over 0.5%. Euro New Zealand, I can bank a little bit there. So basically what I usually do when we've got an overnight news event on the Aussies is just take that, put that down there. Because once I've got it in my bank, it's in my bank and I can spend it. If that basically pushes against me and goes long, I can't do anything with that. It's just going to go into drawdown. So you're better off banking that, putting it down there. And then if price goes your way and the Aussie dollar Swiss moves down, yeah, so banking that, yeah, some point today, wherever it is today, just before tomorrow, I will bank it. If it pushes down, fantastic. That's going to go into profit. That's going to go into profit. Everything's good. If it goes that way, I can add that position back on again. But I can't get that money back if it pushes up. Yeah, I'm just going to lose it. So might as well bank it. Worst case scenario, I can add it again. Best case scenario, this lot all comes into profit and everything is rosy anyway. It's a win-win situation. So anything you've got with Aussie exposure on, only if obviously it's worth banking. I mean, 0.5% is worth banking. Anything under 0.5%, probably not worth it. Depends how many positions you got on. But so yeah, so that's what I'll be looking at today. Seeing if I can get some of that in the bank. Apart from that, it's just a case of waiting for the news tomorrow. Once that Aussie news is out the way tomorrow, again, we've got a non-day, no news again. So might be just a whippy day again. So we'll see what happens. But we are starting to get some talking heads coming in on Wednesday. And we've got New Zealand expectations. But really this week, it's all about Thursday, Friday. So we may have one of those weeks where we get nice midweek reversals where the market just basically grinds away and then we get some news which undoes it and they start a profit takeoff of it. So we'll see where we go. But indices dropping again, look. Go and do something else. Boring today. Franco, my gas pump price indicator helped me score on the US dollar CAD last night. Good for you. Probably going to change today, though. Who knows? Petrol prices. I don't monitor it anymore because I've got an electric car, so I don't know what petrol's doing. People tell me petrol prices are going up. I don't know. Don't use it. I know when electricity prices are going up. But yeah. But pushing at the minute, I would be looking for oil basically to start a little bit of a rally, seeing as this is coming up, but we'll see. I'll get started, can it? Right, I'll leave it there. Anything you need, let me know. I'll be in Telegram. I'll be back tomorrow, same time for the Frankfurt session, 7:50 tomorrow morning, 2:20 for the New York session tomorrow afternoon. I'll be in Telegram until then, and obviously we'll have a look at tomorrow how the Aussie dollar got on and just see if we can get any movement on anything else. But not a bad day today. But, you know, what can you do with a market that does that today? It's just pointless, isn't it? Extracting money in a market like that is good. I'll be in Telegram. Otherwise, see you guys tomorrow. Have a good evening.